Jeff, go!
Don't stop us now.
Go, power, Jeff B.
And we are live again.
Hooray!
Oh shit!
Wow.
Oh,
This is amazing.
So
it
that
feels
worked.
just the same as before.
It
That
does.
worked very well.
It's almost like it planned.
So just for the sake of that, we're playing Call of Cthulhu tonight. I'm Sean, Kaboom, Tanny, Amy, and Ben.
Foot is a
They're all
game.
playing. I'm going to now disappear into the world of the stream. Goodbye.
Go save Cthulhu from the McDonald's play place.
Goodbye.
Cthulhu!
Anyways,
So,
hi.
we're all alone now. I'm just going to have it that Cthulhu just comes out of the fucking sewer and kills you. That was my entire plan all along. I don't require that. So, I don't know where to begin.
The start is usually the best option.
It is usually the best. So, you have all come to Arkham or live in Arkham, Massachusetts. You've either come there for various reasons, either to investigate something or look into things that have made you curious while you've been in the States, or just things that have made you curious in general. Apart from one person who actually lives and works in Arkham, one George Carrington, I believe his name is. Yes, Professor George Carrington. But today especially, you've all been summoned to one particular house. Quite a reasonably nice house in the suburbs of Arkham. The house of Wentworth Avebury, who is also a professor at the Miskatonic University. He hasn't really gone into details as to why you've all been summoned here, but you've all been requested regardless. Apart from Zephy, who works here and has greeted you all and taken you into his office within his house and has offered you refreshments and taken your coats and done everything that a good maid does.
Hey, I can put them in the cloakroom for you if you'd like.
And so you can do that thing because she knows where the cloakroom is because she was here.
Oh yeah, it's over here. I forgot. Don't mind me. Just pretend I'm not here.
So you're all kind of like sat in this room for a little while. He's not turned up yet, but Zephy has assured you that he's just very busy with things at the moment, so he's just asked you to hold and just talk amongst yourselves for now until he's able to get to you, basically. So if there's anything if you wish to introduce yourselves to each other or anything like that, you can now if you wish, or you can just await the arrival.
So first, the first question: did we have any sort of invitation as to why we're actually here at Mr. Carrington's house?
Not really. The only person who really does know would be Professor Carrington, but it's only a slight inkling that he has. The rest of you have just been requested. You've been invited for a particular task that he wants performed, but he didn't go into details as to what that was.
Intriguing.
Okay then.
I don't know what is happening.
I'm just here.
I believe, my dear, that we are all trying to figure that out. Perhaps there are options around which might be able to illuminate.
And while you either talk amongst yourselves or don't, I need to quickly grab my notes that I forgot, and I put them over there. I was prepared.
Should we actually introduce ourselves?
If you wish to, yes.
Well, it's nice for you all to come. I'm Zephy Rankana. I'm the maid here. If I'm a bother to you at all, then I can just get out of your way. But I'll just be here if you need anything. I can offer more refreshments. I can tidy up your rooms when you go to them. I'm here to help.
Oh, very nice. I'll take a cup of tea, thank you.
Of course. Runs off to make tea. Oh wait, I forgot. Does anybody else want tea?
I'll have some, please.
Certainly.
Irene is
Yeah,
typing.
just waiting for Irene.
We should probably make the master some tea as well. I'm sure he would like that. He likes all things I do.
And Irene would also like some tea.
Okay, so 3 teas. And maybe 4.
And George would have one as well. He's
Okay.
a Britishman. So
So she runs to make the tea.
okay.
Splendid. Something worth clearing the mind for.
And so Sophie goes to get the tea. After a short period of time, she comes back with a nice fresh pot of tea and hands each of you your cups. And shortly after that, Mr. Avebury, or Professor Avebury, arrives. He is a kind of middle-aged man, probably in his 50s, with a pair of big round spectacles, thin grey hair, and quite a long grey beard. He's in a grey suit with a red tie, and he just comes in and says, "Oh, thank you all for coming. I'm sorry I was so late. Zephy, of course, is giving you your refreshments. That's fine. If I just shuffles to his chair and sits down behind his desk, and says, "Okay, most of you don't know why you're here. I am a colleague of Professor Carrington here, and we've recently had a incident within the university. One of our students had a bit of a turn. You may or may not have heard of it. We've tried to keep it under wraps as much as possible, but he... I suppose we should go from the beginning. Basically, one of our students, one Reginald Olson, recently visited a medium or spiritualist of sorts, and he apparently had some sort of... This spiritualist, one Josiah Urton, foretold poor Reginald's doom. Reginald was quite a well put together and smart young man, and it was very odd when he started taking this quite heavily to heart. He started becoming paranoid and became erratic and flustered and not turning work in time and things to the extent. Eventually, it came to the day that he was supposedly about to die, and that's when he became violent toward himself and others. For his own safety, he was placed within the Arkham Asylum, and he has so far been kept in solitary because he is just incensed by the entire affair. Now, Mr. Carrington has been very interested in a particular area that there's a particular society within the university where we investigate weird and odd things. And he wishes to become part of this society of ours, which normally would require experiencing some sort of strange phenomena. So normally it would require experiencing some strange phenomena or odd occurrence. In this particular case, we want to try to help our student while also allowing Mr. Carrington into this particular society. To do this, we decided that the best way to do this is to put it basic. We believe this Mr. Urton, the spiritualist, is some sort of con man, a sham artist of some description. And we want you to go and prove it. He is due to do another seance in the next few days up in Ipswich. So, we would like you to try and debunk this fraud as publicly as possible, at which point we may be able to show Reginald that there was no basis in what this man said to him. He was just trying to shake him. If you are willing to do this, of course you will be paid handsomely. I will be glad to offer you, I would say $50 would be quite a substantial sum for each of you. 19, 20, 20. $50 is a substantial sum.
Indeed.
And of course, as well as Mr. Carrington having access to all the things that our society has, mainly access to the more secluded parts of the Miskatonic Library, we would also extend the same invitation to yourselves in case you happen to need access to such tomes. But, of course, it's up to you whether or not you wish to do that, or if you have any questions about this task.
So, if to make this clear, the student you were talking, this Reginald, was told he would die at a specified date.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that date came to be already.
The day has come and passed, but
And that did not suffice to convince him that
it was bogus. No, unfortunately not. He was incensed by the fact that his date had come and gone, to the point where he was determined that he must have to end it himself.
Then how does he explain that the date of his death did not actually happen? How does he justify it?
To be honest, I am not sure. As I said, shortly after the date came and went, he was immediately institutionalized, and the doctors have seen that he shouldn't have visitors in case it makes him upset.
Would it be possible to make an exception so that we could ask him a few questions before going to the spiritualists?
I mean, you can ask at the asylum if you so choose, but so far everyone's been refused. Even some members of his own family have been refused. But, like I said, he seems just convinced. I don't know, it's, like I said, it's very odd. I mean, Mr. Carrington and I both agree that it is very strange that he was such a well put together man that this to affect him in such a way as he. But you can of course ask at the asylum to see if you can get answers from them.
And take it from my experience, most mania comes from well-kept men until the snap.
This is true, of course, but it just seems very odd in his case. But as I said, the seance is due, I believe. It kind of flicks through some papers on his desk. It's due the day after tomorrow. Which, if of course you are wishing to do this, I can phone ahead and book hotel and lodging for you all. But obviously, if you wish to do your preliminary investigation with the asylum first, you can do that, of course.
I would like to have a talk with the doctors beforehand.
Of course. Well, I leave you to your investigation. I'll be around most of today, so if you decide you wish to take this case, then just let me know and I'll get it sorted out.
Well,
So, question as a player. Do we know the address of the asylum? Did you happen to see him in the city?
The asylum is in Arkham is a very prominent building.
Okay, so yeah, we don't need to ask actually the address of the asylum.
You probably already know where it is. It's
Okay.
It's one of the more big landmarks in Arkham.
Where is the asylum? Oh, you're right next to it. It's like two-thirds of the
follow
town.
the cackling sounds over that hill. So, I'm assuming do you all go together, or do you want to go separately to your investigations? Or unless you have any, or unless anyone else has any further questions for Wentworth.
Alistair will most likely depart on his own and don't really care who follows and who doesn't.
Just fuck it.
Well, would I be sent to do anything?
That's a point. I didn't go into that detail.
Oh yes, I forgot about you.
Something I should also mention as well.
I can imagine.
If you decide to take this case, I will be sending my maid with you. She...
Oh?
It's simply because I like to have eyes in places. So... And she is one of the most trustworthy people I know, so I know anything that she says is gospel.
Oh, well, I'll do my best, Master.
I know you will, Seth.
She may stay, but and at the condition she keeps her tongue in her pocket and do not bother her with gibberish or gossips.
Oh no, I'm not the gossip. I just like to listen.
So
You have to admit that maids and people of people of lower standing in our country do have a way of hearing things that many others don't. Which is why she's a very useful person to me. And you have been inquired as to what your maid skills are, Zephy.
Yes.
So what are your skills? Sell your skills to this fine woman.
I don't know.
You're a maid. What do you do? What do you do?
I clean.
You clean. You listen. She cleans. She listens.
I can read lips as well.
Indeed, she can.
So yes, I'll do my best, and if you don't want me to talk as much, then I will try to be quiet, just for you.
Just for you.
Well, if you see anything of importance, be sure to let us know.
Of course, of course.
So with that, he does allow you all to go, unless there are any further questions for Wentworth. I'm sorry.
I do have a further question. When it comes down to these seances and such, what is the exact procedure that they would do?
Sorry, well, I didn't catch that.
So when it comes down to these seances where he takes a look into the future, what exactly is the procedure? What do they do?
Well, from what I understand, it would be with the seances, they would light candles, they would join hands around a table, they would put out all other lights and ask into the beyond about whatever is going to happen. But, to be honest, I've never actually gone to one. But, from what I understand, that's kind of what happens.
Never mind. The mythology alone is certainly interesting. In the meantime, I must agree with Irene. What can you do with your any self-defense technology? Do you know anything special that we might be able to use, my dear Zephy, was it?
Yes. I know a little bit of self-defense. Not too much, just enough that if I'm got a gun pointed to me, I can knock the gun out, you know? Education, could be a little bit better. Not really one with technology. I'm more of a listening person and knows how to get around, you know? Oh, I shot the gun once, although I was just practicing.
I shot a man.
Well, practice does make perfect.
There's
Stop spelling Zephy with 2 E's!
Zephy as she paper out loud. Okay. So are there any other...
One moment,
Also,
and
if you
we
want
shall
anything
see.
cleaning, I can clean. I clean.
Very well, Miss Rankel. Delighted to meet you.
Delighted to meet you too. Delighted to meet all of you. I hope that we can get to know each other better.
Well, pleasantries aside, I believe that we
Okay,
we must make our way.
very nice to meet you!
But yes, all pleasantries aside, I do believe that we should make our move before someone else makes it before us.
So, if you wish to make your way to the asylum, you all know the way, and just contact me if you wish to take on this this issue.
Shall we to the asylum then?
So, you head to the asylum. Lots of... freaking...
John, stop making grabs! We're trying to stream!
So, you head to the asylum.
Sorry, I'm going to mute.
I'm going to mute this thing because they've decided to make a group while in the middle of a fucking thing. Mute. There we go.
Ooh.
Then maybe you should go into streamer mode.
I don't know how to go into streamer mode. I've never had to do
Ghost
it.
is back.
Oh, by the way.
This kid.
Whoa.
That's not a ghost.
Stop it, Patrick. Just carrying him.
Outside of our perception, as you can see, when I pull back this cloak.
Woo! Put that away. So, you head to the asylum, which is an impressive brick building, I think it's about 3 stories, and yeah, it just looks ominous from a distance. But you enter, and I presume approach the reception area and ask if it's possible to see. I'm assuming all this.
I believe that so far you seem to be quite correct. Indeed,
Okay.
that we should request.
So
an
you
order.
ask to see Reginald, and after a few minutes, one of the doctors comes out and is he's a completely bald man with big Coke bottle glasses and kind of a fat face, kind of a bit of a flabby chin, and he's one of those guys who's kind of got no neck. He kind of descends into the shoulders, but he's still got his white coat on. You wish to see Mr. Reginald Olsen? Yes.
Indeed.
How long since he got incarcerated in this place?
It's been about 4 days. He is very difficult to do anything with.
Difficult.
But
Difficult how? Please explain. There are many different forms of.
very unresponsive. Very. We've had to restrain him in a straitjacket for most of his time here, as every time he tries to scratch at himself or hit himself on the wall, so we've had to restrain him as much as possible. But yes, I'm not sure if you wish to speak to him, I'd advise against it, but if you're insisting...
We are.
Well, if he's that unresponsive anyway, there shouldn't be any problem with asking him a few questions.
Well, if he pulls out a clipboard and a piece of paper, if you just sign here, 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 and in triplicate here.
What does this clipboard say?
It's pretty much just a waiver.
I know, but for the sake of legal aspects, I would prefer to know exactly what we are signing our way.
As in, you're asking him this?
I would like to peruse the document to see if there's anything of
But
interest.
it's pretty much just like you have been one of these things of you have been advised by a medical professional that that there is a chance of violence or unresponsiveness or vulgarity with this particular patient. It's big thing just to say that you're not going to try to have legal proceedings if someone spits at you or bites you or something like that.
Very well. So long as there's nothing out of the usual, I'm quite happy to sign.
And your soul now belongs to Cthulhu.
Hooray!
I know I shouldn't have ignored that little picture.
So, is everyone happy to sign said paperwork?
Of course.
In which case,
I mean, Alastair actually signs it very swiftly, like knowing exactly where to sign in very efficient.
And Irene has already said that they sign and read and sign. Okay, follow me. He turns around and just waddles off. And expects you to follow. Isn't really even looking to see if you're following him. He's just waddled off.
I can follow, but at a slight distance. Try and read his body movements as he goes.
Pardon me. So he leads you down corridors. He doesn't really care. Yeah, I think he mostly was like warning against it just to go through the motions. But he just waddles along. You go down multiple corridors with random gibbering people. You hear thuds and screams and crying, and it's not a nice place.
Is there any sense to what is being yelled out?
Pardon?
Is there any sense to any of the words which are being yelled out?
It's kind of just odd things like bananas are trying to take my eyes, or the man's eating my toenails, or that guy stole my pudding, even though there's no other person there, and it's nonsense. All of it is nonsense.
Nonsense or just information we do not understand. Do not negate it so quickly.
So, he eventually leads you to one particular cell and unlocks it and swings the door open, and there is a young man with kind of sandy hair, kind of a ruddy face. It's like he's been crying a lot, and and he's got he's also red faced, like he's been straining against his straitjacket that he is wearing, and he's kind of just. When you get there, he's just laying on the floor. He's just
on his back or on his belly?
On his back.
Okay. Mr. Orson? Mr. Orson.
What do you want? You're the ones, aren't you? You're going to kill me. You're going to just going to.
No.
Starts kind of like
we are here.
moving to get away.
We are here to ask you a few questions, if you would so oblige.
What do you want from me? What do you want? What do you want?
Calm down. It's okay. We're not going to hurt you.
He's just like staring at you, breathing heavily, looking utterly panicked.
Do you think a cup of tea will calm him down?
Alastair would actually look at Zephyr like with an incredible look, like, does she actually brought a teapot with her?
Pulls a teapot out of bag. No.
Out of her chest.
I'm going to go directly up to him. I can understand that.
So that's why he's stretched like that.
I can understand that you're quite immediately stressed. But we are here to try and fix the problem, but we do not know what the problem is until you can calm down and tell us. So please, collect yourself. We are your allies.
What do you want to know?
Well, let's start with the basics. Are you aware that you are currently alive, Mr. Orson?
It's only a matter of time. It's going to happen any minute now. Any minute.
You said that, but are you aware you are at least 4 days past the date you so feared
That just means it's going to be worse. It's going to be even worse. It's going to be really horrible and painful.
Something worse than death?
For pity's sake, ignore that side of things. If surely your death is coming so quickly, then surely the information which you can provide us needs to be said quickly. Forget other details and remind us exactly why on earth we should be trying to help the situation. Perhaps we can prolong your death a little bit longer, but only if we get the information that we require.
I don't know. He told me, Mr. Urton. Mr. Urton told me. He told me he's
Mr. Hurton?
He told me. I went to one of his readings. He said that all my friends said that it was great, and he was really and then he was really on the ball, and he knew exactly what he was doing, and everything was right, and everything he said happened.
Mr. Olson, would you happen to know any other of the patients of Mr. Hurton?
No. I mean, there's lots of people I've seen. He's getting quite a name.
Indeed, I imagine he probably is.
You mentioned some of your friends. Could you give us any name?
There was Joshua Needon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He said that he went and he was given a really, really good reading. He said he'd find love, and like within 2 days he found a girl. He found a lady, and they started going steady, and
As for finding love is nothing more than a state of lust. Love is literally a description of something which may or may not exist. It is chemical, nothing more.
Any other of your friends had another pleasant experience?
I don't have any other friends who've done it, but there was a man in the paper who said that Mr. Urban said that they would come into money, and then they were digging, and they went out California way and found oil, and they've become rich. And so it was like, it seems so they're so right, and he's correct about everything, and so he must be correct about this. He has to be correct.
Have you heard of any other patient that would have had an unpleasant experience after a visit with Mr. Urton?
I don't know. I've not heard of anything.
Can you tell us exactly what happened during the reading? Be precise with your details. I wish to know exactly what happened.
He sat down and asked for my name, and I gave my name, and he said that he said he had a bad feeling straight away. He just said he had a bad feeling, and then I said, and then he sat me down, and he sat across from me, and he held my hand, and he just closed his eyes, and he looked really worried, and then he looked up at me and told me that I was going to die, and I asked him how, and he didn't say, and he said he wouldn't say, he said he couldn't say, and then he told me the date, and then I tried to just think, oh, it's just, he's just trying to scare me. It's just a scary thing, and he didn't, and then he just continued on. No one else had a reading like this, and
do you know how was performed Joshua's reading, Mr. Needon?
I don't know. I'd never asked him.
And quickly, as Irene has so elegantly placed it, was there anything else out of the ordinary beside the reading?
I don't know. I didn't see anything.
Okay. Now tell me, sir, has anything happened recently that has made you feel more concerned that this was indeed true and not just a fluke incident?
I don't know. He was right about everything else. And then he has to be right about this. He has to be right about it. Because he told me, and don't...
But nothing's happened.
But it might any minute. It might any minute.
But then he is already wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It could be any minute.
Before that, could you maybe give us Mr. Liden's address if he doesn't move, or his girlfriend if he moved on with her?
He lives. Hold on.
And suddenly he pulls out his arm from the straitjacket and starts writing it down.
I unfortunately I don't know street places in Arkham, so I'm going to just he's on.
Make it up.
He's on 448 West Street.
448 West Street.
Mind you, you do raise an interesting point. When you were given your reading, what was the expression upon his face? What did he look like as he was doing the reading?
He looked apologetic. Looked saddened. He looked I don't know, but he did. He had to put on a brave face. He said he has to put on a brave face because he had to continue on. He had to do more people. So he had to do more people, and then he had to do more. And he was happy. Then he was happy. Yes.
Interesting. Tell me as well. Why do you keep hurting yourself?
Because I have to. He said I was going to die, so it has to happen. It's fate. It has to happen. It
happened by your hand.
Starts rocking violently and starts trying to hit his head on the cushioning and just.
Mr. Olson, I would like to know something. This thing that is supposed to come.
He's not paying attention to you. He is trying to batter his head in right now.
I'm going to grab him.
Don't do that!
I'm going to physically grab him, restrain his shoulders.
Wait, we went to looking for a door.
No, let him do it.
Okay.
Calm down and tell us what we need to know, otherwise we will be of no assistance to you.
He is just hitting. He's like, are you pinning him down like shoulders to the floor?
I am literally pinning him right down, even close to having my hand around his throat. He is moving nowhere. You will pay attention to me. I require information to understand your predicament. So please, sir, restrain yourself and listen very well. This man is a charlatan, and we are going to prove that. The fact of the matter that you are still alive currently proves that factor as well. Why on earth are you trying to prove him right by killing yourself? If there's meant to be an inevitable, surely it would have happened by now.
The entire time you've been saying that and holding him down, he has just been repeating over and over, he has to be right, 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 he has to be right.
You have to leave him alone.
At which point, as someone has already gone to call the doctor and two very big orderlies come in.
Wow.
like the stereotypical, bulging out of their fucking white shirts and everything. It's and proceeds to just restrain him and get him calm, aka drugging him. And he calms down and slumps, and his eyes lose focus.
You fools. How are we supposed to gain information from a sleeping individual?
We don't. This is why I actually wrote the address of his friend. Maybe someone that is not actually incarcerated in an asylum could be of use for this investigation. That is, if you want to tag along.
I would suggest you all leave. He is obviously very strained today.
Yes.
Yes.
Indeed, I suppose you're right.
Before we actually take our leave, could you point us towards 48 Main Street, please?
That is, and once again, I don't know. He points. He gives you kind of rough directions. It's like you go
Did you not
west on.
expect me to do something close to an investigation in this investigation game?
You go west on this street. You take a left here. It gives you the directions to where you need to go.
Thank you, sir.
And with that, who is going to lead this little expedition to that address?
I will go straight to it.
Alistair will lead it. Then I believe you have a skill of navigation.
I trust you, Alistair. I think you know what you're doing.
I'm not entirely
Navigation.
sure, but I will
That's-
find out sooner or later.
So
I don't actually have a good skill in navigation. I thought
Okay, I don't trust you
navigation-
anymore.
well,
I mean, I didn't know that when you are given direction, you actually need navigation to find it.
it's somewhere you've never been before in a town. So
We
okay,
haven't given
so
directions. Surely it would be at least.
I'd leave it to someone who actually has navigation.
to kind of put your mind at rest, you will find it regardless. It's just a kind of how long you're going to take to get there.
Yeah, anyone got above 10% in navigation?
I will have a look.
I do
I
not.
believe I have 10 navigation. Yeah.
Pathetic.
I think
I'm sorry. I don't really get out of the house much.
I believe Irene has better.
20.
Perhaps
Oh,
you
that's
should
okay then.
take the lead.
so. Yeah, then she can take.
Wait, so you have 10 or 20? Oh, you mean you have
No.
navigate 10% and then 20 next to it, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it is 20.
So yeah, you. So you.
I'm gonna try and talk, and if the neighbor come back,
Kick him.
Then we will shoot them.
well, actually, it's a woman, so
Oh,
I've been
then we will shoot her.
Kick her.
I've been neighbors with her since I was born, so
That's then they won't expect it.
yeah.
Kick her in the face.
I have the navigation as 10%, but I put it as 20, like as in the little.
Yeah, so you've got 20.
Yeah,
Is it?
the number on the right is the actual one.
Yeah. Is it the purple or the green?
Purple, I think. No, green.
What's the purple one?
For the extra hard checks, I think.
Okay.
Or
Double is that kind of thing. It's
Mhm.
which you don't need. So the green one.
Shot. Then Irene, I would say that Irene strong in her navigation with America.
America.
So
Fuck yeah. Woo!
Hard
You-
success.
not only do you just make it there, you make it there in ridiculously good time. It's like it should have taken like half an hour or like 45 minutes. You managed to get there in like 15 minutes.
Well, that was quick.
Like
good.
it's like yeah, you managed to outdo yourself. But-
Seems you are an interesting individual to have alongside.
So yeah, you find this a relatively small apartment building, and on outside there's the whole the various little letter slots for each apartment, and on there is a Needham, and it's the number. I can't remember what number I said. It's the number. I think it's like 114. Did I say?
You didn't actually give us any number, so you can give us whatever number you wish.
Then in that case, yes, it's 114. So,
In which case, the 114.
Teleportation.
which is like first floor, so up the stairs and along to the right, and you come to 114.
I knock on the door and said, "Hope
Yes.
that Needham to give us all the information we're reading."
Mr. Needham, get out or I'll kill you! So you knock upon the door, and a red-headed man with freckles comes to the door. Can I help you?
Mr. Needham Joshua?
Yeah?
Yes, we're actually acquaintances, so to say, of Mr. Orson Reginald. I believe you two know each other.
Oh yeah, yeah, really.
Hey guys.
What's that?
The character's the main the client's name, because I was trying to figure out it was called Reginald. Is it Reginald?
The
client.
The man who's in the asylum is Reginald. The man who's asking you to investigate this medium is Wentworth Avebury.
Avery.
Avebury.
That's the client then.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the patient.
Can you write it actually into the chat to make sure we don't butcher it?
So the person who is
I wrote already Reginald.
Actually, hiring you is Wentworth Avebury.
Yep. So I have no idea which one is the first name, by the way.
The first name is Wentworth. Second name is Avebury.
Okay. Never heard that one. Okay. Mr. Avebury, so thank you.
So yes, you have come to Joshua Needon's, and you've told him that you're a acquaintance of Reginald, and yeah, it's a real unfortunate thing that happened to him. It's
We would like to ask you a few questions about the events for the readings. Wondering if you
his reading.
Yes, and also your reading as well.
Yeah, I wasn't there for his reading. I can't say what happened.
No, we would actually like to ask you a few questions about your experience, and for what we heard, you good luck after meeting Mr. Hudson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I really... So, something I should point out as well is this man is buck-toothed, like I said, freckly, spotty, got like a no chin. He's not that much to look at.
He's beautiful in his own way.
But can you do you want to come in? And he offers you to come inside into his apartment to speak rather than standing on the doorstep.
It will not oblige.
Yeah, and it's a relatively pokey apartment, but it's all right. So what do you want to know?
Well,
first off, when was your reading? How long ago?
About a month or so, maybe a month and a half.
From what I heard, you found Mr. Hutton predicted some good luck in love for you, and you found actually someone 2 days later.
Yeah, I was in the library, and I was carrying a stack of books. I work in the library as like a volunteer to help with the books and everything. And I bumped into this girl, and she was beautiful. And we got to talking, and I'm never good at talking. And she asked me if we wanted to go for a drink or something. And I mean, obviously, it's not much fun since prohibition and everything. But we went to like one of those the botanicals. It was really nice either way.
What was her name?
Her name, she's Jessica.
Jessica. Does she have a last name?
She's Jessica Swanson.
Swanson. Okay.
So, did your luck hold up after your date?
Oh yeah, we've gone on a few dates since.
Interesting.
Okay.
Enough for you to know where she would happen to live in any case?
Well, no, to be honest, I've not asked that yet. I don't want to push things too quickly. I don't want to thinking I'm some sort of creep.
So where do you visit actually, or where?
Well, usually meet at the Usually meet at the university.
Is she a student at? Did you say university? Is she a student or is she?
Oh yeah, she's a student.
What is the university that you work in?
Miskatonic.
Could you just write that down, please?
Miss.
I didn't hear the question before that.
if she was, is she part of the university? And I asked if she was a student or she works at.
Okay.
Hey, stream. Some slight technical difficulties there. Hopefully, you guys can hear us again.
Hello.
Let me check.
Sup?
I can hear me now explaining the technical difficulties, so we're cool.
Is anybody there?
The question was, how did your reading happen? What happened into it? How did it go?
He sat me down, and he sat down opposite me. He held my hands, which they were very sweaty. It was weird. And then he just closed his eyes and then just told me that sorry, I heard the question. He told me that I would find love in the next few days.
Did you have did Reginald mention there was another person with them, or was it just them two?
Was it this question to me or him?
She explains to the rest of the.
So
because I remember hearing that someone found like an area that they said that was predicted.
There was the guy who went to California and managed to strike oil. But
and they're not with the team though.
They're not with the team. They're not. They're
nearby.
No one's been able to provide you a name, and it seems that they went to California and probably stayed there due to money.
Yeah. So yeah, not really on the suspect list because of many reasons.
Have you by chance heard of anyone else getting a bad omen of sorts from these seances?
No. I don't. Not off the top of my head.
Interesting.
Do you happen to know any other patient of Mr. Hudson, any other friends of yours that would have been to see him?
No, I mean, the only person I told was Reggie, and he went like the next day, but I didn't get to tell anyone else.
Did he?
Enough after what happened to Reggie, I've not really wanted to tell anyone else.
I wanted to ask you another question that's more similar to Jessica Swanson, Miss Jessica Swanson. Has she ever been at the university, or was she new to the university, or like a transfer student?
I don't know. I mean, I never noticed her before, but she's definitely enrolled. She's been in classes and things. At least she's gotten books out. But either way,
Would you say she's a quiet student?
well, I mean, I don't know. I don't share any classes with her. I just know she goes into classes because I've walked her to class.
Oh, I see. Well, that's very peculiar.
This is very peculiar.
Did you notice any change in Mr. Horson after the day after his reading with Mr. Urchin?
After his reading, oh yeah, he started getting really quiet and broody, and he started being all flustered, like he'd keep forgetting things, and yeah, he was in a bad way.
I would like to ask you just a couple questions. As you were doing your reading, was there any kind of expression on his face that might look out of the ordinary? Is there anything around you out of the ordinary that might be suspicious when you did your reading?
Not that I noticed.
How was did you happen to learn at any moment of Mr. Horson's presumed date of death?
What was that?
Did you ever heard of Mr. Horson's presumed date of death?
Did I know the date?
Did he suddenly become violent at some point?
Oh yeah, he started becoming, well, not straight away. It was only after the date, only like when the date came. But he started becoming more and more confused and panicky, and he kept looking over his shoulder and things. He was really, it wasn't great.
Were you aware of such date before?
Oh yeah, he told me the date. But I kept telling him that it was probably just a wrong reading. He probably got someone else in the audience by accident or something.
Oh no, that could be precisely, but it might.
I mean, not that I've heard of anyone. I mean, I've not heard of anyone else like dying after seeing it. I would have thought that'd be big news if someone did, but
I may have a few questions, by the way, with about you and Miss Swanson. Where do you usually meet for your dates or any meetings?
Well, there's a cafe by the river. We sometimes meet there, or she meets me at the library, and we go from there.
Does she seem? What is your behavior? What is the behavior of Miss Swanson? Like, is there any kind of personality, anything you've seen that might be out of the ordinary for her?
Not that I know. She seems ordinary to me.
Could you give us the address of the Miskatonic University where you have happened to have met Miss Swanson and Mr. Horson?
The address of this university, it's on the campus. You can't miss it, really. It's right in the center of town.
Okay.
Right. I do have another question about your seance. For the sake, where does he say he gets his answers from? For the sake of the seances I've been to, usually it's the undead that recently passed or grand spirits. So where does he get it?
He said he was spirits.
Did he say which ones?
He said he had some sort of bound spirit, but then he also said that he can get spirits of those we know and others that are prophets and stuff. I don't really know.
That's another question. Like, how much was there any money with your seance, did you have to pay a certain money to seance?
What was that?
Did you have to pay any kind of money to?
Oh yeah, I had to pay.
How much?
About $30.
Oh, that's quite a lot.
That is a lot indeed.
Yeah, yeah, but he seemed like a good deal. It's find out the future and.
As always.
And did you have any doubts about this situation, or do you believe in the occult?
Oh yeah, I've had, I'm a little bit interested in it, but I wasn't 100% sure because I'm not usually that good with the ladies, but I kind of hoped.
I do have to say, it is difficult to actually imagine Miss Swanson without actually knowing anything about what she looked like.
Yeah, what's the description?
Oh, she's
He said it is actually difficult to represent the description you made of Miss Swanson without actually a description of your newfound love itself.
Well, she's got long blonde hair, blue eyes. She's
distinguishable.
Not too tall. She's like about 5. She's about 5'4".
Okay.
And she always wears this little brooch of a flower.
She sounds like someone we can pick out of a crowd, at least.
Yes.
One final thing which I would like to know, where exactly was the seance? Where exactly did it take place?
Well, I had some family up in Boston, and we went up there.
Boston, you say?
Boston.
So I traveled up there with the bus and stayed there the night, and went to the seance, came back, stayed there, got bussed back.
Interesting.
Must be really bad right now, Sean.
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm satisfied so far. I don't know about the rest of you.
Well, I think we got a bit of a lead. That's one thing. I think I'm just going full on British for this because I've got to try and be quiet.
Because screw Scottish.
Well, I can't do Scottish because that means really, really loud. Neighbours will not be happy with. Oh.
So, are we heading away from Mr. Needham?
I am very keen to see this location of seance.
How is your neighbor relationship, Mr. Needham? No, just kidding. So let me just check what we got at the moment. Okay. I do have one question. I do have one last question. Did you happen to visit Mr. Olson in the asylum after his incarceration?
Oh no, they didn't let me in.
Oh. Why not?
Well, that doctor they got there is scary looking.
Yes, doctors can be a little scary sometimes.
And so I didn't want to argue and stuff like that. He just insisted that I couldn't go in, so I just accepted.
I do have another question. This is regard to Reginald. What's his last name again?
Reginald Olson.
Olson, okay. Mr. Olson, because I prefer to say last name, so. In regards to Reginald Olson, Mr. Reginald Olson, does he have a large family or any kind of compensation or any loan?
I mean, his family's quite important. I mean, they've got quite a successful business in town.
Okay.
And I can't remember exactly what they do. I think it's a cannery or something.
skincare.
A cannery.
A cannery.
They can things like
calling us a night shortly.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
do you have
we
to
have
get up by
audio back.
4?
Because work.
because
Why?
That is pretty much it in a single sentence, to be honest, because work.
yes.
Anyway, now the game is back. Should we continue?
The question was, in which part of town could have been located the candle?
Oh, it's a bit outside town. Actually, is it even? I don't know. He just kind of like one of those kind of moments where he like literally kind of like turns away and starts scratching his head because he's.
What do you mean you don't know every inches and business and house in town?
I just know that it's pretty. I just know that Reggie was pretty well off. I know we mentioned the cannery, so I don't know exactly where it is.
Well, this is somewhat interesting.
Perhaps we should get moving to see.
Before that, one last question. Before that, could you also give us maybe Sir Olson's address?
I've lost count of the amount of times you said one last question. Just saying.
This is
No,
getting like.
I think we all actually said it a bunch of times, which is why.
Guys, we have turned this into a fucking interrogation.
Yes, that's actually an investigation. That's what you're supposed to do.
Well, he was dormed in the actual university itself.
Well, could you give us maybe his room number?
I think it's 12 of the West Building.
Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Newton.
Yes, you've been very helpful.
Thanks.
I have a question. Does he actually Google Zephy's rack? Did Mr. Nidon actually glance at any point a glance at Zephy's given outfit?
Hey.
No.
Oh, what a gentleman!
Yeah.
He's not very good with the ladies. I don't think he'd dare.
Also, can I just say the next like any game that I play with Kaboom, I'm gonna turn it into a drinking game. I'm just gonna take a shot for every time he says, "Can I ask a question?"
Hey, I do that out of character and in character.
Oh, I've got all the water now.
Well, I guess I'm getting hammered then.
So, shall we proceed?
Where are you proceeding to?
Mate, I don't know.
The university seems like the best choice. The university seems like the best choice, given that there's either the library to actually see to meet Miss Swanson to maybe grab more information, and also the room of Mr. Olson. Maybe we can find some clues among his belongings.
Yes.
So you're heading to the university.
Yes.
And you, do I make you make a? Well, once again, the university is a pretty important landmark, so I think you would all have at least gone past it at the very least. So I think I'm not going to ask for navigates from that. So
thank you.
So you head on to the university, which is an impressive, quite open campus with a big clock tower in the middle of it, and like a big building to the north, which is the main center of learning, and then a kind of building to the west and a building to the east, which are evidently dorms.
Another thing we should have done is actual investigation of his house.
Do you wish to go to his room first, or?
Whilst we're here,
first off, maybe two things to know: what time it is, and how far are the west dorm of the university and the library.
It's getting on time-wise. It's probably getting on for afternoon.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to call it a night here, guys.
Okay, good night.
Good
Good night
night.
and have fun with the rest of it.
Okay.
Get some sleep.
Sleep, little Ben.
When are we wrapping this up, by the way? Because I'm kind of really tired too.
Be honest, you guys have gone off on a little tangent, which I wasn't planning for.
Right, listen, I was trying to push it and everyone insisted on turning it into a full-on interrogation. I was ready to clean and shit.
I mean,
So-
we're supposed to actually gather intel, that's what we are in for.
Yeah, I'm aware, but it's completely not what I was expecting. So,
Did you expect us to actually gun blazing into people's houses?
no.
Yeah, thank you. Also, Amy, you're also supposed to actually watch us to see if we actually do the job decently, so that's another reason.
She's been trying to push you guys and you've been all like, okay, no, we're still going. And she can't do anything because my dad, she's the fucking maid.
Huge guy.
Also, we apparently lost Mr. Smith.
He just wandered off to get a cup of tea.
He just wandered off.
And
He's
then
getting
we
tea.
find this blooded corpse later.
So, you're at the university. What do you wish to do?
I don't know.
So I didn't have the answer.
Should I just call this because it's like everyone's kind of getting all pissed with it?
It depends.
Okay, so I didn't have the answer to whether the room, the West Dorm, is far from the library or not.
It's a different building to the library, but
Okay, so yeah, I'll start off with the room to see anything in the belongings, and then afterwards we'll go by the library to see if we can maybe spot Miss Swanson.
so you're going to the dorms first.
To the West Dorm, yep,
West
to
Dorm.
find the room.
So you head in. Just to expedite things, you find the superintendent there and ask to view the room, of which he sees no real reason not to, because you've mentioned Wentworth Avery is asking you to do this, and he's like, well, yeah, he's up and up. So you go to the room. Let's expedite it to that point. And you go into the room, and it is a heap.
Ooh.
Papers all over the place. The furniture's been flipped. It looks like there was like a little, almost like a nest he's made in the corner instead of going on his bed, and it's just, and there's like random scribbles on pieces of paper of almost like it seems to be almost math in a way of, is there any way it's like he's been trying to discern if there's a way this could be like a way that date could be wrong or something like that. It's just maddening stuff.
Is there any way that I can find anything that might be really pinpointing?
You can attempt to, if you roll me a spot hidden, see if you find anything in the room that stands out, and anyone can do this, really. Success.
Oh, woo.
So, anyone else wanting to try and spot anything?
Yeah, sure.
Find anything?
Well, hidden.
Someone made with gigantic boobs.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
No! Her boobs are too
Okay.
big and blocked her vision.
I'm talking about your ears. What the fuck are you talking about? Also, I was asking if the room had the window open since the incarceration, in which case we'll probably smell the difference, first off, and second, maybe opening the window will give in more light to actually increase our chances of spotting anything hidden.
In the room, the curtains are open, and
Okay.
the window is closed.
And spot hidden.
Fail.
I'm slightly pissed that I have a 51 in that and still failed.
Oh shit! I would have succeeded with the 51.
Yeah.
So I will actually look around, look at the papers, see any information that I can gather, and looking for pieces talking about Hurton or Mr. Hall's imminent death.
So, both Zephy and Alistair, you look around, but you don't find anything that really stands out as being important. You find stuff.
We bash heads as we're looking.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get onto this.
What size are you, Zephy?
Excuse me?
No, I mean I'm talking as a player.
Oh, shit, I can't remember. I think she's like 5'5" or so?
Yeah, no, because you said she would burn, but basically you would be like mid-torso, given your size.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I guess I just didn't see you there.
Irene's gonna push and said, I should suggest you both sit down before you make a fool of yourself. And let me handle it.
I go here.
So both of you don't really find anything. You just find scrawls of stuff, just like I don't want to die. I don't want the date to get closer, and just scrolls and scrolls of just stuff like that. Irene, on the other hand, you do find a picture of Reginald looking much better, in some very nice clothes, like a very nice suit, next to an older gentleman, with a big moustache, who's got his arm around Reginald, and he stood in front of a pretty nice looking car. And with that, and on the back of the picture, it's just got written, Reginald's birthday present.
Okay, and the car. Is there any type of do they have in 1920?
What?
You said a car, right?
Yeah, they stood in front of a car.
What type of car is it?
It seems to be a Ford. I think it's a Model T, which is it's not a very expensive car, but it's still a car, which is a pretty big thing to buy someone.
So you said Reginald was next to an old man?
Yeah, an older man, yeah.
Okay, and only saying it's his birthday present.
Yeah, just Reginald's birthday present.
I'm putting that. I'm writing it down. You say so. Is there anything else in the picture? Is there anything else?
No, it's just it seems to be just a nondescript street.
Do I recognize the man in the picture with Reginald?
Is there anything you can do to do I just give you this, or do I make you roll for? I'm going to give it to you. He does look quite similar to Reginald.
Okay.
I have a question. If I'm looking for anything mentioning Mr. Hurton, what should I roll for that? Because I can't see investigation.
So we're looking for something concerning that particular thing. I
don't show them to the photos.
Fighting!
Anyway, I actually don't show
I
them.
believe, realistically speaking, it would be spot hidden, which you looked for.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, you don't find anything really concerning Urton. You just keep finding scribble. You eventually do find some schoolwork that has been long neglected, but there's nothing really concerning Urton.
Oh, unprofessional.
Is there any way to look upon any kind of database or on paper the Jessica?
You can ask at the reception, which would be the main building of the university.
Yeah, I actually leave them two and quickly run to the reception.
Okay. So those two can, I don't know, do whatever.
They'll come with me.
If they want to come with you, they can come with you, unless they want to try anything else in the room.
I'm guessing not.
Nope.
So you said the picture. Is there more pictures into the room?
There's not that you can see, no. This just seems to be this one.
I take the picture with me, by the way.
You've stolen his picture, okay.
So I go to the reception.
You go to the reception.
I greet the receptionist. Hello there. May I ask, is there a certain Jessica Swanson in your database?
Jessica
Did you say
Swanson.
database in 1920?
Or in your files?
The
I'm fine with that.
The receptionist starts leafing through files and folders and cabinets and yes, we do. Yes, she's English. English, yes.
Anglais.
May I ask, when did she start attending to this university?
Seems she enrolled about a year ago.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. Another question. She then hands photo of original man. Can you ask me who this man is besides the old?
I've never seen him before. I mean, I know the boy, but
You know the boy.
yeah, that's poor Reginald. But
Not poor Reginald.
But I don't know them. I don't know the older gentleman.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay. So,
And
I'm assuming you stayed in the same room, Sephi.
Oh, yeah.
I go back to you and say, well, Miss Jessica Swanson has been here about a year, so my suspicion is actually not at the goal I was expecting. But no information. This man, out the character man in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, I guess we have to snoop a little bit more then.
my theories were that the woman, Miss Jessica Swanson, was possibly paid by the tarot reader to come in and fulfill the predicament of Mr. Eden's it might have a high chance that it was to do that to actually make the prediction correct and cause Mr. Olsen to become either insane or something else.
Oh.
There's a high chance that there's something else in play and that Mr. Our suspect might know of Mr. Olsen or someone's paying him to cause Mr. Olsen to become insane.
Yes. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not the best of all this occulty stuff, but it does seem to be some kind of setup.
I believe it is. I think we might have a bit the situation here, but alas, my theory for the Miss Swanson is incorrect. But she has been there for a year, so there's a high chance she might have contacted then to investigate, or she was not part of it in the first place, and it just came up.
Perhaps.
Well, I think our next choice is go back to Boston and talk to this Mr. This.
Yes. If we can get all the information we can, that would help, yes.
So, Alistair has gone to the library to ask about any books title that would have been borrowed by Olsen.
Okay.
With that, if you could roll me library use.
Library use.
Use the books.
Shabby, yes.
Use the books hard.
You do. You find a lot of books that he has lent out. However, none of them very recently. And all of them are kind of to do with his studies. It's all philosophy, various philosophy books.
You can probably find out that Mrs. Swanson was checking.
Yeah, no, that was the second hint.
And if you're going to search for Swanson as well. So you're going to search for Swanson, like stuff that Swanson's borrowed as well?
Yeah, it'll take us through in the library while looking for Miss Swanson.
For that, what did you roll to look for her? There isn't really anything to...
Yeah, I love how unspecific they can be sometimes for several actually specific things. Locksmith!
Because track's a little extreme.
Yeah.
Spot hidden, not really, because they wouldn't be necessarily hiding from you.
Praise? I don't know.
Praise?
This is Swanson in the wild.
On strength, dex, power, app, intelligence.
I can show yourself. I can show yourself and use persuade.
There isn't really anything to roll for this, really.
So I guess it's up to you to decide whether I am or not.
Pretty much, yeah. So, you look around and you spend some time. Obviously, it's taken you quite a while to look through everything in the library anyway to find out, not everything in the library, obviously, but to research to find out what he's been lending out. But while you've been there, you've not noticed anyone fitting the description. At least not that you can. Yeah, just doesn't look like she's been in.
I'll actually ask the librarian if she know of a certain Jessica Swanson.
Jessica Swanson. The librarian starts looking through some things, and yeah, she did borrow a book the other day. Said she wanted to read it on travels.
Travel.
Apparently, she has some family out of town that she's going to go and visit. But I didn't ask entirely.
Do you know what destination were the books of travel about?
No, there weren't books on travel. They were there was some. What did we have here? We had the. Just look at things. It was Macbeth she was reading.
Macbeth?
Yes. Apparently she had to read it for one of her classes, apparently, but thought it'd be good. She said she waffled on a bit. She said it could be good light reading for the journey. And while she was away.
Could you point me to a teacher for English literacy, please?
English? Let's have a look. Where? Hold on.
Sorry if I'm too specific. If it's too specific, I can drop that.
Let's So quick look. Archaeology. Psychology, medicine. Nope. Damn it. Hang on. Fuck. The mathematics. Languages. Yes, it's Professor Astrid. Astrid Chantal. She's actually in her office. If you follow me, I shall lead you.
Thank you very much.
He leads you and takes you to this woman's office.
What time is it anyway in the current day?
The day, it's probably getting on for 5 o'clock.
Okay.
After you're searching of the rooms and searching the library, and so
I'm probably gonna head off. Actually, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm really struggling.
I mean, if necessary, I can end this because I don't think it's going to work. It's yeah.
It's not that it's not working. It's just
it's not working.
No, it's not that it's not working. It's basically, I think, like you said, we kind of went on a tangent a bit.
Which is my fault, really.
Okay,
So.
one,
Really?
shush, it's not. Two, we could always make a one shot or two shot.
Not really, because that's not how it works.
Well, no, make the most of what you can. I will just be away.
Okay. Either way, we'll continue on for now.
Bye!
Bye.
Bye.
And then there were only two.
We're losing more and more people without even having sanity rules.
I think, yeah. Either way, we'll continue on for the moment, but I think we are going to have to just abandon because I don't think it's going to get anything. I think I have completely failed in this.
No, actually, you did a very good job as a GM. I want to actually address that. You did an amazing job, and I would have been thrilled to have the whole team for tonight through all the night. I was ready to actually... I saw the pace was going slow because we spent more time than you expected on the investigation, but I was ready to actually pursue until 4 a.m. if I needed to. Because I really enjoyed the game. I really enjoyed you.
Unfortunately, you're the only one who probably can do until 4 a.m.
Probably. But I was ready for it.
Either way, we'll continue on for the moment. So you go to Professor Astrid's office, and there's a woman in there, pale, with a kind of bob haircut, wearing a green jacket, and the librarian has a couple of words just to say. There's a gentleman here to see you. He's investigating. He was asked questions about Jessica Swanson. She's quite amicable and invites you and offers you a seat.
Thank you for your time. I have a few questions about Jessica Swanson. I heard she has been recently in contact with Sir Joshua Needham.
Yes, I heard about that. I think they got a bit sweet for each other.
I was hoping you could tell me more about Miss Swanson, about how long did she get into university, what is the history of subjects, what are her acquaintances?
Acquaintances, quite don't think she really has many acquaintances. She seems quite, keeps to herself quite a bit. Did worry about her for quite a while until she met that Joshua boy. But, yes, she kind of kept to herself, really.
Odd. I heard she was a frequent visitor to the library.
Oh yes, English is part of the deal, really.
While I have the chance of having a professor to talk to, would you happen to know anything about what happened to the unfortunate Sir Olson?
The Olsen boy.
Yes.
I heard about his incarceration and heard about his worrying demeanor. I'd heard that he was getting quite flustered about something, but I didn't really hear much about the details of it.
Well, the lead actually goes back to a certain spiritualist called Mr. Hutton. Have you ever heard this name before?
Not really. I don't really buy into all that. It's just mumbo jumbo, really.
Can I try and butt in here real quick before it becomes a one-man show? I'm going to say that Irene basically finds Alistair.
If Alistair is willing to let you meet up with him and join in this little chat.
I'm assuming that she found him anyway. She's looking around for him.
I mean, yes, for the sake of not spending the rest of the campaign actually everyone being on 2 different locations. Would be more practical.
I'm actually going to come in and say that I'm ever so sorry for butting in, but Mr. Balmond, I think we need to leave. We have some more information, and I think we need to go back to Boston and talk to this man.
So kidding. So the question is, so basically you get in, how did you, so yeah, we'll say you actually got brought in, knowing it's the teacher of Miss Swanson?
The what now?
No, I was asking basically, I know she's butting in, but what intel did you have for butting in? Like, did you encounter the librarian that actually got you in there too, telling you she was a teacher of Miss Swanson, or did you come in like because you just heard Alistair voice? And then the tragic music for that.
The music is very dramatic at that point.
Did you come in because of us?
You, the Muffin Man? What is the question that is being asked here?
Oh, I was asking basically how did she stumble, and basically what intel she had, or if she needed to actually catch up on the intel through the teacher.
So Irene, what? Yeah.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Well, I've noticed that Jessica Swanson has only been here a year, but the fact is that I have no information about man as on photo. But I believe if we go to Boston to talk to the reader, we might get more information. He's behind off. I fear there might be something in play here, and I fear that Mr. Olsen might be played, the way of speaking, in for something greater. So if we don't go now, there's a high chance that Mr. Olsen might be in danger despite the fact that he's silent.
So you've informed Alistair that you found out that this girl has been here for a year.
He's been here for a year.
And your gut is telling you that we should be heading to Boston to investigate.
Yeah.
How far are we from Boston?
Well, get rid of that.
Because we can't afford to miss the reading with Mr. Hurter.
Arkham is there. We're probably a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're about 14 mile. No, correction. No, I've gotten the complete wrong thing. We're about 20 miles from Ipswich, where the reading's supposed to happen. Boston is the entire other direction.
So not likely to make it in time.
Probably a good 30 miles from Arkham southward.
How many hours would that be, depending on travel?
1920s cars. Probably a good day's travel to get to Boston, and you might get like halfway back to Arkham.
Okay, yeah.
Completely.
I mean, it allows us to actually get information from the team that went there, or
Yeah.
corpses, depends.
I'm thinking we may just have to call this because everyone's gone.
That's understandable.
It's just the two of you now, and
Yeah.
Jeff keeps disappearing and reappearing. So I'm thinking we're just gonna have to call this.
I really want to do it. I'm like, I'm
I
really
really wanted to do it, but I failed.
Yeah.
I failed in my attempts. So
I
Yeah.
mean,
What
it's
is it
more of a
that
bad
you-
luck timing and everything. Also, I mean, yeah, that was just bad luck for the occasion. Just again, you did an amazing job that way at the game, and I was really
Yeah.
thrilled for what was coming to us. But yeah, also, yeah, so that was
yeah.
that's unfortunate. But I'm really okay with leaving it because the point is to actually share this with many other players. And
Everything I designed and everything I planned for really requires about 5 people. So
suddenly a spiderling.
I'm just going to hop in here.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Hello. I've been listening from over there in Streamworld. I thankfully have the keys to the tavern, so I can get in.
I knew I lost that key somewhere.
I was making notes of everything. Sure.
I think it's been a great game. Maybe needs a little bit of work on the pacing when the players suddenly decide to turn the first meeting with someone into a total interrogation attempt.
I didn't know we weren't supposed to do that.
To find out every single backstory detail about the poor person. I think what we should do is table this and probably try to recontinue some Call of Cthulhu at another point.
Yeah.
I'd be done for that.
Yeah, I'll be down for that. You know I will. Like investigations.
We've got a few more months of one-shots planned, so we've got some time to loop back around to Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the usual endo stream things at this point. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. Thank you for the new follow tonight from Queen Gen, Princess Gen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Some level of royalty of Gen.
Thank you so much for following, and be reassured that it goes much well usually. You can check that on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Sunday this week, we've got a Storm King's Thunder because MCM occurred and we decided we wanted to just kind of shove the D&Ds along a little bit. Sammy is saying that maybe we can continue Call of Cthulhu at the end of November.
No, if he's got things planned, I don't want to take that. So maybe another time, regardless.
We'll work it out. We'll work it out. On Monday next week, it is one of the Minecrafts. I don't know which, but I'll work it out by the time we get to it.
I should hope so.
Or I'll just start both of them and see what happens. Wednesday next week, we should have a Golden Tooth episode because
this week we were dead.
Because this week several of us were dead or had no voices, and voices are very useful for role playing. Next Friday, it is the it is Space Odysseus, the A team, I believe. And then next next Sunday will be the last Tomb of Annihilation of the year, because after that, the weekend that would be the next Tomb game will be the 8-hour live stream of Screw Cancer.
Yes.
So that is a D&D session called After the Fall, where a group of plucky young adventurers will be standing up to a dark and forbidding future and hoping to change the past to alter their present, to set right what once went wrong and to otherwise quantum leap.
I would do the theme tune in Quantum Leap, but I can't remember it. So
I can't remember it either now. I can't remember what theme tune I am remembering, but it's the wrong one.
Yeah, I'm also thinking of the theme tune, but I know it's not the right one.
I think I've got Hawaii 5-0, and that's just completely wrong.
I think I might have Airwolf, which is really wrong.
But we'll be doing some quantum leaping. We've then got for the month of December, the Christmas crossover this year, entitled Strange Visitors.
No, go away. Don't want to hear about it.
It's all about strangers from your home.
Also, speaking of more D&D, I'll actually sneak in a little tip for Sean for actually next Call of Cthulhu game. A thing I always do in the beginning of the campaign is always sneaking an NPC into the party so that I can actually guide them and have some sort of control of the pacing.
That's what I did. I did intend such a thing, but I at the same time didn't want to railroad, which
but sometimes you have to, at least for the beginning. That's the point of doing this in the beginning of the campaign, so that you can kill him off or anything.
Jeff has usefully messaged me on Discord. Do.
How does he write notes?
Literally, he's just written do.
Oh my god.
Basically, your regularly scheduled Sunday night D&D sessions, along with your regularly scheduled Thursday B-team games, will be replaced with Strange Visitors, a final boss fight, Geek Worlds, FBF Cinematic Universe massive crossover with every single game crossing over into one space. The first session will take place on the 1st of December and will be titled The God of All Things. And will then be followed by the second session that is titled
I stubbed my toe on the refrigerator.
Is titled You Can Never Go Home.
I want to go home.
What if I don't want to go home?
And Sammy is already regretting his part in the game because he has to write out all of his character sheets again.
Oh, wow. Whoa. Oh my god.
That's your own fault for making so many fucking characters.
I can already imagine the amount of NPC, and I really hope they're not all there like in Smash Bros. Because, oh my god.
Stay tuned. For now, Jeff, kill the stream, Jeff.
Kill it.